Have you ever, opened your inbox, or maybe you were just stumbling around a random internet forum late at night and you found a message that completely defied categorization?
Oh, yeah, like those really intense early 2000s text walls.
Exactly. Something that felt like a profound spiritual revelation layered over this wild sci-fi manifesto, but then it's all wrapped up inside a high-stakes internet chain letter.
Those documents are just unforgettable.
Yeah.
I mean, they usually promise you the ultimate secrets of the universe, right?
Yeah.
But then they casually threaten you with cosmic doom if you don't hit forward to, like, 10 of your closest friends within 24 hours.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
the exact vibe we are exploring today. So, welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is to explore this fascinating, highly unusual document from August 2005. It's titled Out of the Egypt of the Spirit,
Right.
and it was authored by someone known as Huiseng, who operates under the rather grand title of Deiform Buddha.
It is a seriously dense, just wild landscape of an article. But before we step into this particular universe, we really need to issue a very explicit caveat to you listening right now.
Yeah, that's super important.
Because this document contains just a massive mashup of religious figures, scientific theories, and incredibly charged political references. I mean, most notably, it weaves modern figures like Mao Zedong right alongside ancient spiritual prophets.
And we need to make it crystal clear. This deep dive is entirely impartial. We are not endorsing, validating, or taking sides on, well, any of their political, religious, or scientific viewpoints presented here.
Right, exactly.
We aren't here to judge the theology or the physics for that matter. Our goal is strictly to unpack the fascinating internal logic, the ideas contained within this specific source material.
Think of us as your tour guides through a very specific, very volatile intellectual ecosystem.
An ecosystem that is entirely predicated on a massive impending earthquake. So here is the roadmap for our journey today. First, we have to understand the cosmic wave this author believes is currently barreling toward Earth and the metaphorical prison keeping humanity trapped in its path.
Right.
Second, we will look at the uniquely syncretic identity of Deiform Buddha himself. Third, we are going deep into the pseudophysics of the visas of life, which he offers as our only salvation. And finally, we will unpack the surprisingly strict, incredibly early internet rules for sharing this exact message.
Sounds like a plan. And to understand any of that, I mean, we really have to start with the fundamental problem out of the Egypt of the Spirit presents.
The big threat.
Exactly. The core premise relies on this impending apocalyptic event.
Yeah.
But the physical danger is actually secondary to a psychological prison. Kufeng borrows heavily from the historical exodus of the ancient Israelites, escaping the geographical land of Egypt, but he applies it internally.
So in this universe, humanity never actually escaped. We are still enslaved, but we are trapped in what he calls the Egypt of the Spirit.
Right, because escaping a physical location is straightforward compared to escaping a mental framework. And Feng's definition of this mental Egypt is, it's incredibly comprehensive.
It's huge.
Yeah. He isn't talking about escaping bad habits or negative thinking. He defines the Egypt of the Spirit as the very foundational structures of human society. He specifically lists family, nationality, race, party, and religion.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because he is asking the reader to abandon the absolute core pillars of human identity. You are instructed to stop racking your brains for your nation or your political party.
Which is a huge ask.
Right. He labels all of those allegiances as fundamentally narrow and selfish. The only things you are permitted to keep as sacred territory are the greatest creator and your parents. Everything else is the Egypt of the Spirit, and it has to go.
And the stakes for holding on to that identity are absolute. If you remain loyal to your nation, your religion, or your political party, you're incompatible with the unimaginable era that is coming.
The cosmic wave.
Exactly. Wiefen envisions this massive cosmic wave of energy radiating from the deep universe, and he claims it is already reaching Earth.
So think of the Egypt of the Spirit like being trapped in an outdated, rigid operating system. You've built your entire digital life, your files, your family photos, your cultural programming, your religious software, all on this old OS.
Right.
But the universe is currently pushing a mandatory, massive software update in the form of this cosmic wave. Uninstalling your Egypt OS isn't just like dragging a folder to the trash. The author is demanding you format the hard drive of your identity.
That is a great way to put it.
Because if your hardware is still running that old Egypt code, you simply cannot resonate with the new cosmic frequency.
And that resonance is everything. In the logic of this document, if you can't resonate with a new software update, you don't just get left behind culturally. You are physically wiped from the server.
Wait, like complete.
You completely disappear from the earth, and he paints this tragically poetic picture of the consequence. He says if you fail to update, you will eternally lose the sun, the sea, the white clouds, the blue skies, and your loved ones. You just vanish into nothingness.
Oh, wow. That is bleak.
It is, but what makes it truly terrifying within his narrative is the delay in realization. He claims you won't even realize you failed to resonate until the exact moment of your death.
Oh, no.
Yeah, at which point all your regret will be eternal. It is an absolute non-negotiable deadline.
So if the universe is, formatting our hard drives and our deeply held identities are basically malware, who actually has the admin privileges to warn us about this? Like, who is sending the message?
Well, that brings us to the messenger himself.
Mm-hmm.
The author introduces himself as Deiform Buddha, and he claims to bring this revelation directly from the greatest creator. And this is where the document attempts just a wildly ambitious unification of human thought.
Yeah, he provides a roster of the divine power backing him up, and it is a massive ideological pileup.
Mm-hmm.
He claims to literally embody the love of Jesus Christ, the profound wisdom of Sakyamuni Buddha, the great ideal of the Prophet Muhammad, the deep meaning of Lao Tzu, and the great mercy of Mao Zedong.
What's fascinating here is how the author attempts to construct a completely bulletproof, unquestionable authority. I mean, he weaves together the titans of major world religions figures who have shaped human morality for millennia.
Right.
But then he fuses them with modern cosmological buzzwords. He claims all these historical and spiritual forces concentrate into him to form a mysterious force that he explicitly defines as the strongest and softest dark energy in the universe. He is literally attempting to unify ancient theology and theoretical astrophysics into a single living persona.
Wait, I have to push back here because that list gives me severe intellectual whiplash. You have Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Lao Tzu, ancient foundational spiritual prophets who dealt with the soul.
Oh.
How does a 20th century political figure like Mao Zedong sit at that exact same table? And how do any of them generate astrophysical dark energy? It just feels like a massive contradictory left turn.
It definitely stops you in your tracks.
Yeah.
But it actually reveals how this specific brand of syncretism works. The author isn't bringing Mao Zedong into the fold for his governance models or economic policies.
Okay, so what is it then?
He strips the historical figure down to a single, localized concept liberation. The document specifically frames Mao's inclusion around his historical mission to, quote, liberate all the poor people who suffer from oppression and deprivation at the bottom.
I see. So he's treating historical figures like ingredients in a cosmic recipe.
That's exactly it.
Jesus provides the love base, Buddha adds the wisdom, and Mao brings the specific aggressive energy of liberating the oppressed.
Precisely. By combining the ultimate spiritual liberators with a modern political liberator and then branding the resulting power as dark energy, Deiform Buddha is trying to speak with the authority of both ancient wisdom and modern science.
Covering all his bases.
Exactly. If you question the theology, he hits you with physics. If you question the physics, he hits you with theology. It's designed to be an unfalsifiable position.
So we have this cosmic liberator powered by the dark energy of history's heavyweights. If our Egypt OS is fundamentally incompatible with the incoming cosmic wave, how do we rewrite our own code? Like, we need a patch, and that patch is what Deiform Buddha calls the visa of life.
Yes, the document states that Deiform Buddha will issue these visas of life to anyone willing to be his friend.
Just be his friend.
Just be his friend. But to understand what this visa actually does, we really have to dive into his radical reinterpretation of physics.
Here's where it gets really interesting. In this universe, life, and he always capitalizes it, life in all caps, is not a biological process involving cells and carbon. He says life is a non-material structure. Specifically, he defines the soul as antimatter.
Yeah, and he goes out of his way to explicitly call out modern science here. He claims that generations of brilliant minds studying quantum mechanics, string theory, and even Einstein's pursuit of a unified field theory, well, they all ultimately failed.
Wait, he's claiming Einstein and the entire field of quantum mechanics failed. How does a 2005 spiritual internet document justify writing off a century of peer-reviewed physics?
By completely changing the rules of the game. He argues that modern physics failed because scientists were obsessively looking at the material world.
Right.
They were trying to measure particles and waves. But if the fundamental truth of existence, the soul, is a non-material antimatter structure, then physical science is essentially using a thermometer to measure the weight of an object.
You're using the wrong tools for the wrong reality.
Exactly.
That makes the mechanics of this visa of life sound straight out of a sci-fi blockbuster. Because this isn't, a stamped piece of paper you slide into your physical passport. The visa is a non-material substance that embeds directly into your antimatter soul. Think of it like interstellar sci-fi passport control. When you get this visa, it upgrades your soul's code, it creates perfect symmetry in your structure, and it generates a literal 7-color halo around you.
And that RGB glowing halo isn't just decorative. It's a functional shield. It protects your non-imperial structure as you speed down a space tunnel toward higher-level spaces of existence. And the physics get even more granular and bizarre from there.
Oh, they do.
Deiform Buddha envisions a universe where a sensitive spirit can literally shrink down and enter a sesame seed.
A sesame seed. I cannot get over this detail.
It is incredibly specific. He claims that a soul can travel negative 10,000 kilometers to the center of a sesame seed to understand the structure of life.
Negative 10,000. How does one travel negative 10,000 kilometers?
I mean, it completely upends our understanding of scale. It implies the universe isn't just vast outwards into the cosmos, but infinitely vast inwards into the microscopic. And because the soul is weightless antimatter, it moves at what he calls negative relativistic speed.
Negative relativistic speed. So imagine traveling at a negative relativistic speed. You aren't physically propelling yourself forward through space. Space is essentially moving through you.
Right.
You are bypassing the physical laws of friction and mass entirely. And this totally redefines what happens when we die, doesn't it?
Completely. The document offers a radical, almost comforting view of mortality based on these pseudophysics. Because the soul is 100% real non-material antimatter, it literally cannot disappear or be destroyed.
Right.
So the moment your physical body dies, you experience a sudden realization that you aren't dead at all. You have simply abandoned your life carrier, which is your fragile biological body.
So death is just a vehicle swap. You drop the physical shell, your antimatter soul boards a new carrier, and you begin the next voyage at those negative relativistic speeds, protected by your 7-color halo.
Assuming, of course, that you secured the visa of life before the cosmic wave hit.
Right. Catch is always in the fine print.
Yeah.
And nothing in this universe is free. Getting that interstellar patch for your soul requires something from you. What is the actual practical price of admission?
This is where the document abruptly pivots. We go from wild cosmic space tunnels and antimatter into deeply grounded, incredibly difficult human psychology.
Yeah.
The price of the visa is a complete, agonizing shift in moral behavior.
Right, because to get the visa, you have to forgive your enemies. You have to completely abandon the urge to overthrow regimes or defeat opposing political parties.
Yeah.
You have to entirely drop the tribal, we are right, they are wrong mindset. In Shu Feng's universe, revenge isn't just a bad habit, it is a corrosive force. Holding on to a vengeful attitude literally distorts your antimatter soul, forcing your life structure to evolve into what he calls false, ugliness, and evil.
And the psychological weight of this demand is staggering. He argues that even if you rightfully defeat your enemy and step on them, it only serves to satisfy your ego. It just traps all of humanity in an endless, vicious cycle of retaliation.
Right.
To get the visa, you must be the one to break the cycle.
And breaking that cycle requires a massive amount of intellectual humility. You are instructed not to judge the world until you have read the foundational classics. He lists the Bible, the Quran, the Buddhist scriptures, and the Tao Te Ching.
Which is a lot of reading.
It is, and there's this fascinating quote included from a figure named Taiji Celestial, who the document describes as the living messenger of Jesus. The quote is simply, "Do not be an apologist, but be a preacher."
That quote perfectly encapsulates the demanded mindset. An apologist is defensive, An apologist builds walls, guards their specific interpretation of the truth, and fights off outsiders.
They protect their Egypt.
Exactly. But a preacher, in this specific context, just shares what they know without defending rigid boundaries. You drop your defenses and simply offer the information, which brilliantly leads directly into the final and most jarring element of the entire document.
Right, because we move from profound, boundary-dissolving moral philosophy straight into the ruthless mechanics of an early internet viral chain letter.
Yeah, the document concludes with an unyielding mandate. From where it has come to where it returns. The author demands that once you finish reading this article, you must pass it on to a second person without omitting a single word. Print it, email it, post it on a forum, it doesn't matter how, but you absolutely cannot keep it to yourself.
So what does this all mean? The stakes he attaches to forwarding this text are just intense. He warns that if you fail to pass it on, you are actively cutting off the lifeline of others, and you will pay a high price. He explicitly calls this a curse.
A literal curse.
Yeah, but if you do share it, you gain massive cosmic merit. And then he sets up this brilliantly insulated, zero-friction viral loop. He tells the reader, if you think this article is evil, share it anyway and blame Deiform Buddha. He will take full responsibility for the sin.
Right.
But if it's good, you gain the virtue, but you must give all the glory to the greatest creator.
It is a masterpiece of psychological manipulation. He removes every possible excuse for not sharing it.
Right. Is this an authentic spiritual test of faith? Or is it just a weaponized marketing tactic from the 2005 internet era? Forward this to 10 friends, or lose the sun and see eternally. He guarantees virality by leveraging cosmic dread.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the contrast between the two halves of this document is what makes it such a compelling artifact of human nature.
Yeah.
On one hand, the author is demanding some of the hardest psychological labor a human being can undertake. Truly forgiving your bitterest enemies, uninstalling your national and political identity, abandoning your Egypt, goes entirely against our tribal nature. It requires monumental internal transformation.
But on the other hand, he offers ultimate salvation from the apocalypse through the lowest effort physical action imaginable, hitting forward on an email.
Exactly.
It's the ultimate, just lifting a finger shortcut. Why do the hard work of forgiving your enemies when you can just forward an email and guarantee your 7-color halo?
It perfectly captures the anxiety of the early information age colliding with ancient spiritual dread. I mean, we had all this new technology connecting us, but we were still terrified of the dark.
As we bring this deep dive to a close, looking at this entire sprawling landscape from the Egypt of the spirit to the dark energy of Mao and Jesus to antimatter souls traveling negative 10,000 kilometers into sesame seeds, you can really see a profound human desire on display.
Absolutely.
We have this desperate urge to find a unified theory of everything. We want a narrative that neatens up religion, quantum physics, global politics, and our deep-seated fear of death, all into one single protective shield against an uncertain future.
We want to believe that there is a set of rules, no matter how bizarre or contradictory, that can guarantee our safety if we just follow them.
And even if you don't buy into negative relativistic speeds or the idea of an interstellar visa of life, the core warning inside this 2005 forum post actually holds up.
It really does.
The danger of tribalism, of being rigidly enslaved to your political party, your religion, your nation, or your we are right, they are wrong mindset, is a deeply relevant prompt for self-reflection today.
Because escaping your own mental Egypt is a universally valuable concept, regardless of whether a cosmic wave is coming to wipe the server or not.
Absolutely. So we'll leave you with this final thought to mull over. Let's say a new paradigm, a real, undeniable cosmic wave actually did arrive tomorrow.
Right.
Something that completely overturned our entire understanding of reality and physics. If you were forced to pack up and leave your current operating system behind, which of your deeply held beliefs, your own personal Egypts, would be the absolute hardest for you to abandon? What piece of your identity are you most terrified of losing when the universe finally forces an update? Think about that the next time you get an email promising you the secrets of the universe.